Hi, my friends. It's me, Mrs. Stiliano. Today, I'm going to take you through a little demonstration of how to draw yourself as a swimmer, like David Hockney would. Okay, so you guys get to decide what you look like, but I want you to make yourself pretty large, okay? So you could start out with your head. I'm going to have our eraser nearby. All right, and just think about what you would look like as a swimmer. All right, so I like to draw kind of lightly at first, and then I'll go over my lines and, you know, make them larger. So if you're drawing your hands, be sure to include 5 fingers, okay? So erasers are really very necessary, very important part of our drawing process, okay? Not expecting anyone to do anything perfectly. I'm not looking for perfect, okay? I never am. It's just not my thing. I'm looking for you guys to have some fun expressing yourselves, all right? I think I might actually maybe make the head smaller. All right, and this is gonna be me as a swimmer. I am wearing like a swimming skirt. Why not? It's what I feel like wearing. And I'm gonna wear it's actually my daughters both have the same kind of swimsuit. You can design it however you wish, all right? So here's me and thinking about what my legs might look like. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put some flippers on my feet because that's fun. Now, of course, you can draw yourself however you wish. I do want you guys to make yourselves pretty large. I want you guys to really take up all the room you can in your picture, okay? So that's an important thing to me. And I can go back in and make things look better if I want to. All right, so here I am. Now, my head's definitely too big. This is where I'm gonna go in and make those little improvements. And I want to include things like my ears. I also notice I have some little scratchy stuff around my neck. So we're definitely going to be using lots of eraser today. Okay. And I'm happy, of course, because I'm swimming and I love to swim. Here's my nose. You can make it however you want. Eyebrows, and I just love swimming. I do. So have some fun with this. Okay, I'm gonna make my hair kind of swirly like a mermaid's. You make yours how you feel. You're not gonna color things in, so we're not coloring anything in right now. Reason being is that next week we're gonna be working on that step. Right now, we're really just trying to get the groundwork laid here, okay? I'm not gonna go and draw any designs really on my outfit except for maybe some shapes that I can color in next week when I'm ready for the coloring step. So that's all gonna be like a next week thing. I'm just kind of getting this stuff here so that it's all framed out for next week. So next week I don't have as much work to do. So yeah, if you want to make like little designs inside of your bathing suit, you get to decide on what your bathing suit looks like. All right, so there's a few little areas that now I'm going to erase and make better because I'm going to be moving on in a minute. Okay, so yep, there's a few little things here that I definitely think could use some improvement. I want to change the shape of my face, so I can do that. It's okay to go back and make changes. Okay. So here I am. So I'm looking at myself, and you know what? I like how I look. I'm happy with myself. That's me, okay? And now, what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna take you guys right into the next part. So the next part is going to be doing our watercolor step. So for the watercolor today, before we do watercolor, I'm gonna be using a white crayon. And what I'm gonna do, I have to press pretty hard. In the background of my pool, I can make little white marks. These are gonna be for the waves. So we're gonna get something called a watercolor resist once we start our watercolor step momentarily. Now, if you want, you can turn some of these into shapes. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I'm sure it's impossible to see. That's okay, because you're gonna see it once the paint comes in a few minutes. So that's actually all coming up. So the areas where I kind of splashed, I wanna really make some little splash lines there. You guys are gonna spend a few minutes with your white crayon, really getting like lots and lots of white parts in here. So we're using watercolor paper because this is actually going to be a watercolor project. So what we're going to do, I dip in my water first. Now, when I'm making the blue of the pool, I see that there's a lot of greens in there too. I want to give this a good swirl. And then what I want to do is very lightly brush over, and you see what's happening. You can actually see those little white marks that I made with my crayon. Okay, that is called a watercolor resist. Okay, so I'll say it again because it's so important. It's a watercolor resist. Carefully, nicely, I'm painting around my person. Next week, we're going to be coming back to these because this is going to be a 2-week project. Okay. So I just want you to see how carefully I'm going. And I'm going to add in some green. So what I need to do is wash my brush off first. I want to get all the blue out of it because I do not want to contaminate my colors that are in here. So my brush is absolutely clean. There's definitely a little bit of green in the pool too. So while it's wet, you don't want to wait till it dries. You can go and put little elements of green in there. Okay, a little bit here, a little bit there, mostly blue, but little hints of green as well. And then I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep going with this, okay? And pretty soon you're going to get the gist. So I'm going to keep going. Carefully around my lines, okay? So this is a part where I definitely want to take my time. I say the slowest person wins the race when it comes to art. I'm getting a little bit of drippy drips because I'm working vertically right now, so it's bound to happen. Okay. And I'm just gonna be covering my entire page, all right? Now, I never wanna dig or push into my paints. If your watercolor is coming out chunky, it's not supposed to be. I'll just say that to you, okay? It's never supposed to be chunky, all right? It's supposed to be really a light process, okay? It means that you have taken too much. Actually, when it gets chunky, it dries sticky, so you never wanna work with it that way, all right? So I'll do a little bit more, and then you guys can actually get started, and I'm gonna complete this on my own. So it'll all be finished and hanging up when you see it. All right, we'll do a little bit more right now. So you guys are going to have it be your goal today to do all of your water from your pool. So if you have a little thing like that, it's okay. Just use your finger. Okay, you wanna kind of remove the paint right away. But even Mrs. S makes little mistakes here and there. It's no big deal. I always say, if you mess it up, dress it up. Just gotta kind of roll with it. Go with the flow of your painting, okay? Sometimes your paintings have other plans for you. So if you wanna make it darker in any area, once it dries, you can actually go back in and put like a second layer. You don't wanna brush over the same area too much while it's wet because you're going to get that pilliness. We wanna avoid pilliness. That's those little dots that happen when you're, you've all done it at some point when you've gotten a paper wet and you kind of keep going over it with the brush in the same area, it starts to pill. So we don't want your picture to pill. So sometimes it's nice to just start with like a little line around the shape. Okay. And you see, I'm just gonna keep going with this. I'm gonna turn my video off so I don't take up too much of your time. I know your time is very precious, okay? So I'm gonna get going and you guys are going to begin.